We'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Gangster Chronicles podcast. It's your boy Bigg Steele along with
Jill.
And tonight, I had the homie Willie D from Willie D Live, Willie D Podcast, and all that other good stuff. You know, step in with us real quick. Appreciate you stepping in with us real quick. I'm gonna touch on the sign. I know we talked about it last week, Eiht, but it's been some new revelations in the Sonya Macy case. Remember, we were saying it was just a bunch of stuff that didn't make sense.
Right.
Come to find out, allegedly, that the guy's wife is a nurse, and it fell out with the woman earlier.
So what do you mean? She got it with her dude or whatever? What you saying?
Yeah, the police officer was her. The police officer has a wife, right? She's a nurse. She fell out with the Sonya Macy lady, evidently, from what I'm hearing. She fell out with her at the hospital, and so she told her husband about it. And evidently, I guess, you know how she said she had someone outside of her house messing with her, bust the windows out of her car and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know all that. All I know is the report was that she called because she thought she heard a prowler outside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
it was him. And so he responded to the call and went back. So evidently, this man possibly had something against that lady already.
That actually aligns with what I think it was a son said something about it. Somebody said something about having seen that officer on the scene earlier in the day.
Mm-hmm. So it makes a lot of sense.
And so that could possibly intersect with him, knocking, busting the windows, busting the window pane, so he could have an excuse for her to call 911, and then he could come back and then be the officer on the scene, give him a great alibi and a great excuse to blow her head off.
Yeah, because when you think about it, right, he came in the house asking if she had mental problems. And the only way she would know if the woman had mental problems is if he had access to either her hospital records or he had a prior incident with her before. And it was something in the police database about it. If that's the case, if this guy's wife went and told her husband that she got mental problems, you can't give nobody's medical information away freely. That's against HIPAA. That's against HIPAA laws. Mm-hmm. If I go to the hospital, and somebody finds out, oh, that's the dude from the podcast, and let's say I got even asthma, and they go out and tell their friends, he got asthma and stuff, they can go to jail for that. That's against the law.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you can't tell nobody's medical. You can't tell people's personal medical history, dog, in public.
Man, the bottom line is this uncivilized must need to be brought to heel. Like this dude, let's just take away all of the premeditated stuff. Let's just say that didn't even exist. What we saw is enough to put that clown away for life, forever. And really, I'm gonna tell you something else, man. They look, I ain't the president, because I signed an executive order to start executing police officers. I'd kill them straight up.
That's what needs to happen. That's what probably needs to happen.
I'd kill them just like we get life. If we kill, the death penalty, depending on what state you're in, the death penalty is on the table if you kill a police automatic. It's automatically on the table. It should be automatically on the table when they kill us illegally.
Because that was an execution. That wasn't the thing he was fearing for his life. He executed that woman.
Yeah, he showed no. Basically, he was just showing how he was using his authoritative figure to his advantage. And then if the wife has an issue, that's just gonna make his attitude go through the roof. A guy who has been on record of what he went through 4 different departments or 6 different departments. Like that shit is. There was no way he should have been allowed to be any kind of patrol officer when you've been dismissed or you've been reprimanded from 6 different departments. That shows you got some kind of issue within yourself as far as the police is concerned. We already got situations with them, and now you allow a person who's been, kicked out of 5, 6 other departments come over the year. I guess they was desperate for patrolmen, because that's a dude who should have never been allowed to even police anyone. He can't even police himself.
Well, he should have never had a badge, and my thing is this, Will, if you are a ex-military guy that has been dishonorably discharged, you should be automatically ineligible to join any police force. Because do you know how big of a screw up you got to be to get dismissed from the military?
Mm-hmm.
You got to do a whole lot of messing up. It needs to be guidelines. It's like being a police officer is probably a doctor, a police officer, fireman. You have to be a person that's really a public servant type. And that's why I'm a fan of community policing. I wish they would start hiring guys that are really from the neighborhood. You got to, it ain't all knuckleheads floating around the neighborhood. You got guys that will make good police officers to come back to places like Compton, the Fifth Ward, different places that actually come up in the environment to know people. I think it'd just make better policing.
You're absolutely right in that regard. However, once those police officers go home, at some point those police officers have to go home, and those police officers probably are not going to live in the community where they serve. Even if they are Black, they're probably not going to live in the community that they serve, right? And then there'll be time where you're going to have a spillover when you call the police. Whoever's available, whoever's in the area, whoever close by, is going to converge on the scene. But beyond that, and this is a greater concern of mine. When these cops are not patrolling our neighborhood, let's say you got regular old hillbilly Bubba, that can't stand Black folks. He can't hate us, straight up regular Klansman, Proud Boy, right? He don't have to work in our community to get a free kill. He can wait till we cross that line. So, basically, he can say, okay, that's their community. I can't police that area. But the moment they drive that car past that railroad track, once they cross that intersection, I got them. I still could do whatever I want to do with them. So maybe Black people are not getting killed in their own communities, but they're getting killed right outside of their own communities now. The bodies are still turning up.
Yeah, and that's because, Will, we see them put police officers in jail. There's nothing, they get off more often than not. It's probably, I don't know the exact statistics, but it's really rare for a police officer to really go to jail. Usually he has some kind of special, they put a special unit on and they let them off because they still are police officers at the end of the day and they look out for each other. So these guys really don't have any consequences. And I think the only solution that you have to this is just like you said. I bet you if they start frying a few of them dudes, people start thinking.
Well, it's two ways. It's only really two ways for them to change their behavior. Is either they're held accountable in the court of law, or either the people hold them accountable in the streets. That's it. It ain't no other way, because we've tried everything else. It don't work. I don't care how much you march. It might put a dent in it, but it seemed like they ain't slowed down in the killing. Remember, when they was protesting George Floyd's murder, at the height of the protest, somebody got killed right down the street. A police officer killed another Black person right down the street. It's almost like they kill purposely just to prove a point that, hey, ain't nothing changed. Just like when Barack Obama became president, Black people were still getting slaughtered in the streets by police in record numbers, and it's almost like they amped it up. I remember when we had Chief Lee Brown in Houston. I think he was the first Black police chief in Houston. Well, guess what? More Black people died on his watch at the hands of the police than they did when we didn't have a Black police chief. And that is because some of these guys, they got the mentality like, hey, ain't nothing changed. We're going to prove to y'all that, ain't nothing changed, and we're gonna keep doing exactly what we're gonna do, what we're doing. What's gonna stop us? They killed a woman named Ida Lee Delaney on the highway, a black woman who was a grandmother on the highway. White boys behind her, they were drunk. Police officers, they were drunk. They were bothering her. It was a road rage situation where they pretty much ran her off the road. When they ran up on her, she died. She pulled that thing. And, before she could get hers off, they gunned her down. And they all walked. Keep in mind, they were drunk. They were agitators. They were provocateurs. They went after her and they got off. So this is the type of stuff that they do because they know that they got damn qualified immunity. They got skin color immunity. You dig what I'm saying? So that's what we're up against. So it doesn't matter, it'll have no, don't let me back up. It does matter. It has some credibility putting police officers in the neighborhoods with people that look like them. That it has some. But that is not the complete answer. The complete answer is accountability all the way across the board, whether they kill in the neighborhood or whether they kill outside of our neighborhoods.
Yeah, well, you know what? The thing is, I'm with you 100% on your first solution. It's starting to Friday ass because, and I hear all these people talk about Trump now. Trump has said multiple times that he's going to give police officers immunity. That's pretty much saying I don't give a damn what they did. They're not gonna have to stand trial. They're not gonna have to do nothing. They're not gonna have to do none of that. They just gonna be able to go out there, rape, kill, and do whatever it is they want to. Another thing that they do, I saw a thing today to where you had a guy that was ex-military. He was a Mexican dude going into Vegas. He had $85,000 in his trunk. They automatically told him, he said, it's my life savings. I've been saving my money. I'm moving. I like keeping my cash. That's his right. It ain't against the law to have cash. They told him, well, according to our dogs, this is drug money. He said, how can your dogs tell it's drug money? He said, none of these bills are over 20 years old. So if it's your life savings, why do you have this money? He said, well, I can go to the bank and take my life savings out. You can go to the bank and get $80,000 out. Police have been out here taking people's money, and their whole thing is that they just run like a gang with impunity. It's a gang. If they can go in your car, let's say you just came off a tour and you got $60,000 in your car, they can pull you over and take your money.
Right. Yeah, they try to do me like that. I had went on tour. I was in Japan, and I came back, and some of my peoples lived in a not so desirable part of the city, but I still, because I'm feeling I'm legit enough that I can go, visit my peoples. So upon entering the apartment complex, they're going in and I'm coming out, and they automatically eye me. So they instantly bust a U-turn, followed me for about maybe 10 minutes, and then just decided, okay, we're going to flash you. So they flash me. They walk up to the car. They doing all they mumbo jumbo. And then, so they take me out the car, said I had a warrant out of LA County, but it's a different county. So you know how that works. So anyway, they going through my bags and stuff. So I had maybe about $4,000 cash that I didn't deposit in the bank when I got back from tour. So they find the money. Then they find my backpack and seeing pictures of me standing with a gang of Japanese dudes and low riders and all of that. Mm-hmm. So they automatically figured I was a drug dealer with connections to Japan. And they tried to confiscate my money. And I showed them plane tickets and everything. And they basically handcuffed me, took me in, took my car to the impound, kicked in my speaker boxes, everything, looking for drugs and all that. So, and then they stuck me in the holding cell all the way in the back of the jail. You know, they didn't give me no phone call, none of that. And it just happened to be a black cop come back there, see me sitting in there, and he actually let me out because I didn't have, you know, the warrant was out of LA County. LA wasn't finna come pick me up for a traffic ticket. You feel me? So they let me out. But the whole matter of it was that they wanted to affiliate me with some underworld because they wanted to confiscate my money. They wanted to tie my money to some drug dealing. And then after asking me about it, then they want to start asking you, who do you know? Or who can you give us? Or you don't know anybody that you know. So they're very upfront with trying to confiscate whatever they feel. You get me? Nigga, I had 2 brand new Madden football games in the package. They took them motherfuckers. They took my iPod. Nigga, my whole car was towed up because they was looking for drugs. But then they gonna justify. You go to ask the tow truck yard, where's all my shit at? They gonna say, they said, hey, the police came in here and they just went through your car. They tore everything up and they took what they wanted. So.
And you have no type of recourse to go and say, hey, y'all done did 4,500 in damage.
Yeah, they don't give a. They're not gonna care. The whole plot was they wanted to confiscate my money, and the money was with a bank receipt, like all that. It was in a bank envelope, everything, but they still tried like hell to confiscate the bread because they just want to associate us automatically to negativity. You know, nigga, you from the streets. Are you drug dealing? What's with these pictures of you and all these Japanese dudes? I'm like, dude, I was an entertainer and went on tour. They wouldn't believe that shit for nothing. So we already got a couple of strikes against us. We're trying to go up against the laws, you know what I'm saying? Especially when they have that prejudiced mind state.
Yeah, that's a big part of it. The other side of it is they just wanted that money. And they'll come up with any kind of excuse. Just like they want to kill, they'll come up with any kind of excuse to kill you when they want to kill you. When they want that money, they'll come up with any kind of excuse to get that money. Whether they try to attach you to some type of drug activity, whether they try to attach you to a bank robbery or whatever, they just want that money. And the trip part about it is, even when they are dead wrong, even though when the evidence is clear and you have proof that it's your money, they can take your money anyway and make you fight to get the money back.
Oh, definitely.
And sometimes when you live out of state and they confiscate your money, you know, it might add up to where you say, you know what, man, it ain't even worth going back in this little small town where they run everything and they try to intimidate you. And hell, my life might be on the line going back there trying to get this money, you know, because, you know, you might think, well, they hit me up for $5,000. I got to go 2 states over to get my money, to try to get my money. I got to get a lawyer. And you know what? By the time I get the lawyer and keep going back and forth, man, it might be a wash. So you know what? Let them have it. So imagine how much money that people have just left behind and allowed them to just take and keep going. Imagine,
it's in the millions. It's in the millions.
Imagine how many people have had their homes burglarized by the police, invaded by the police, and they just took televisions and stuff and said, hey, we're confiscating this because it's drug property. It was bought with drug money. You know, so they do this all the time. It's actually a culture. This is part of what they do. And this is one of the biggest reasons why a lot of cops like to work in small towns, because you can get away with stuff like that a lot more often in smaller towns where the police chief is also the school superintendent. His wife work in the police department, in the permits department. His nephew and his son are the deputies. You know, his cousin is the land surveyor. You know, this is how they control people and intimidate people and they stack the deck in their favor. And this is why in the smaller towns, oftentimes you can see a whole lot more corruption than you'll see in these big cities. Because in the bigger cities, there's more of overseers, and there's more checks and balances. You dig? And there's more exposure. There's more media. So a lot of them, they'll try to move over to these little small towns so that they can run the cities and treat people like trash and get away with it.
Yeah, well, you know, with this particular guy, and the way these guys were able to do with it is Nevada police officers, they have an adoption with the feds to where they can seize property. So that means if you come in that freeway from California, let's say we going to Vegas for the weekend, we taking our wives to Vegas for the weekend, and we may have $10,000, $15,000 cash. Let's say whatever it is, if it's $5,000, whatever, you go in there, they can pull you over and say, well, the dog smelt this and that on your money. Now, you know, every dollar in this United States, ain't no telling how much money don't pass through somewhere. It might have weed in it. It might have cocaine in it. It might have anything in it. But still, if they not charging you with a crime, they shouldn't be able to do that. But they changed the law because that's how they was getting away with stuff in places in Vegas. So that adoption thing where you can act like the feds and just seize people's thing, you can't do that no more. Because they said it was like something like $7 million in unclaimed money in Vegas that they just don't took from people over the years. Think about how many things now you go to Vegas, you gamble, let's say you win $10,000 and you on the way back home. What's to stop them from jacking you for that $10,000 and say, well, you ain't winning this at no casino?
Right.
They can do whatever they want to do.
It's unfortunate that it seems like, you know, that's a never-ending story for us. You get me? For us people dealing with the police and those situations of the brutality that we suffer behind the police. People don't want to shine light on it, but you know, it's been going down for a long time, man. You know, the killings, the injustice and all that shit. It's been going down in the neighborhoods, and now that it's spread out to, it ain't just us anymore. You feel me? Used to be the ghetto nigga or the project nigga or the nigga on the streets banging, selling dope. Now it could just be a regular citizen, man. You get me? You know what I'm saying? George Floyd, Sonia, you know, how many people were killed in that time with George Floyd situation? It was a gang of us shot and killed. And it just, like you said, it just seems like they would to prove the point of, so what? It's still gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so what? Y'all tried to put attention on one situation. And like I was trying to tell people, shit, we've been going through that shit for years. We've been going through police brutality for years, man. And not to put a dimmer on George Floyd or Sonia or any other Black person who has been, you know, unfortunate to police. But we were seeing this shit go on for a long time. You know, sometimes it's unfazable to niggas because they used to come through the neighborhood and just do what the fuck. You get me? Jacking niggas, doing whatever they want, beating our asses, taking us to holding takes and putting us in jail for 24 hours just to get us off the street. We've been going through that shit for a long time. Getting our faces kicked in and beat up in the back of the police car or in the holding tanks, putting us in the cells with the enemies and shit and watching us fight it out on the motherfucking monitors in the holding tanks. I mean, shit, it's a lot of motherfucking brutality we've been through. You get me?
Will, since you've been a primary figure in Houston, have you suffered any abuse at the hands of police? Have you ever had something happen to where they tried to jam you up?
Once. But I kicked 3 of their asses that day, so I still won. You know, that day I whipped the shit out of 3 of them. They was, you know, yeah. One of them got out of line. I was in the club, right? Mm-hmm. Let me preface this by saying, you really don't want to get into it with the police unless you're ready to crash out. If you're ready to go way out, handle your business. Handle your business. I understand, but you really don't want to get into it with them because even if you win, you're going to lose, right? Case in point. I'm in the club. My partner goes into the girls' restroom. He got a cast on his leg. My partner is a cockhound. Boy, he crazy about women. He just woman crazy and just going to the women's restroom and chasing a woman. Next thing I know, they got him jacked all up. You know, keep in mind he got a cast on his leg. Got a broken leg. They just got him jacked up, dragging him out the club. So I'm standing off the side. I say, hey, man, they passing by me. I said, you know, I had my drink in my hand. I said, man, y'all ain't got to handle him like that. Now, keep in mind, I don't mess with the police. I stay out of their way. I limit my contact with them. This particular police officer was a shorter dude who was a little short, stocky, red dude, right? And he was a troublemaker. I always watched him in the club, how aggressive he was with black folks. He was very aggressive. And so I always stayed out of his way. But on this particular day, you know, I don't know, I guess that my partner, so I'm riding for my partner. So I say, yeah, y'all ain't got to handle him like that. And dude was like, well, you can get out too. So I had a drink in my hand and I set the drink down. I put the drink down and I kind of like slammed it on the table. I was like, yeah, I've been kicked out of better places. So I started marching out with him. So as I'm marching out, the cop stepped on the heel of my shoe. Mm-hmm. So I looked back at him and gave him the look. And now I'm saying now I'm cornered. I'm saying to myself, if he step on my foot again, I'm gonna piece him up. So I took a few more steps and he stepped on my foot again. I turned around, dropped him. And I know I gotta throw one hit or quitter because there's three of them. So everything I gotta give it to him. So I turned around, hit him with bang, drop that boy. The other one he come a little, try to get a little aggressive. As soon as he got in right there where I could slide into him, I dropped him. Next one he saw the two get dropped. Now he coming, but he being a little bit more cautious. He really, really intimidated though. He's scared, but he coming anyway. Mm-hmm. I got up on him. I act like I was kind of like gonna spam, and so he got a little aggressive. And when I got him in that little range where I knew I could get him, I turned back around, dropped him. Every last one of them suckers in here, nothing. I hit every last one of them with a one hit or quitter, one punch. 50,000 I knocked their ass out with one punch. You know what I'm saying? And after I drop them, it's two big white cops behind me at the door because I'm trying to get out the door. I'm probably about 6, 7, 8 steps away from the door. I know once I hit this door, I'm gone because I'm in the parking lot and it's cars everywhere. I know the area like the back of my hand. So I'm gone. I'm trying to get to the door. The two white cops blocked my way out. You know, they blocked the entry and I couldn't get out. So they tackled me on the ground. All of them, they rushed me and tackled me on the ground. And the one who started the fight stole on me. He hit me in the eye. And long story short, I was on probation. I was on 10 years probation. This is right at the start of the Ghetto Boys. This is like 1989, 90. So this is right when we starting to heat up. And I was already on 10 years probation. Now I got a assault against a police officer, 3. And I got to get out of this, bro. Because if I don't get out of this, the whole landscape in H-Town is dead. Hip hop different, gonna be different in H-Town and in the South. If I don't get out of this right here. In any event, dude showed up to court for the hearing, and he had amnesia. He told a different story, and then judge dismissed the case. Now, again, I wouldn't advise anybody to get into it with the police unless you're ready to crash out, unless you're ready to go all the way out. And I wouldn't advise anybody to just allow themselves to be murdered. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear people saying like, yo, man, you got to kill me. You got to kill me. Kill me? I'll be thinking the opposite. You know what I'm saying? I don't be thinking
for real.
I just letting them take me, like, get me. You know what I'm saying? So if you ain't willing to go all the way out, crash out, I would say don't even try it, man. Go ahead and comply. Go ahead and deal with it. Stay away from them. When you're around the police, really what you want to do is limit your contact with them and you want to get them out of your face as soon as possible. So when you get pulled over by the police, even if they profile you, which they often do, even if they profile you, even if you feel like they're wrong, don't do what I did when I was a youngster and I was driving that brand new Lexus when it first came out. When Lexus first came out, I had the big one, and I'm riding down the freeway. They pulled me over in rush hour traffic. Now, you know the police do not pull people over in rush hour traffic on the freeway. They pulled me over in rush hour traffic on the freeway in Houston, and I'm hot because I know these fools pulling me over because I'm black. He profiling me. Out of all these thousands of damn cars on the freeway.
Yeah, especially in the rush hour traffic.
He pulled me over in rush hour traffic, and I'm hot. And what you pulled me over for? Say that. The fuck you pulled me? So I'm hot. So he finally was like, yeah, well, this car matched the description of a stolen vehicle. I say, man, you know, goddamn well this car ain't stolen. I just bought this car because I had the fresh tags on the back. I said, I just bought this car. You know it. And then he walked back up to me, gave me my ID back, and just drove off. You know, so I would advise, don't act like I act. Don't behave like I did. That's really not the right way to do, because at the end of the day, I know that it's hard to believe, but police officers are people too. You know, they are people. It's just that some of them behave like uncivilized mutts, so it's easy to forget that. But they got feelings, they got emotions, they got pride, and when they got their badge on, just like anybody in the position of authority, they want their respect. And if they don't get it, you're going to have some problems. So the easiest thing to do, like I said in that song, we had a song, Ghetto Boys had a song called The Secret. It was George Clinton actually performed that song with us. But it's a song called The Secret on the Foundation album, where I said, I'm yes, sir, no, sir, but when he pull off, he is a motherfucking dick-sucking redneck son of a bitch. When he pull off, not while he's in my presence, you know what I'm saying? And the name of the game is to get home, baby. Get home, just like they're trying to get home. I'm trying to get home too. The name of the game is to get home. Get home, get home. Play to stay alive, play to stay free. So yeah, I've had a couple issues, but I know, but keep in mind also, I got family members who are police officers. I got family members who are high-ranking police officers. I got family members who are in the FBI. Okay, so I understand. I'm not one of them dudes who all cops ain't this and all cops. I'm not like that, because I know those dudes personally, and I know that they solid dudes. They good dudes. It's like you was alluding to earlier. You was talking about how we got some good dudes in the hood that would make some good police officers, right?
Right.
So there are good cops out there, but these uncivilized mutts, they got to go.
Oh yeah, for sure. I got relatives in the law enforcement too, and got homeboys as good cops. As a matter of fact, my son got pulled over by one of my partners. And he told me, he said, man, I'm gonna tell you, stop, I saw you on your phone and doing this and that. He said, everybody ain't gonna be as nice as me. I know your dad, and I'm gonna tell him he was out here on the phone, he was driving. He said, you know my dad? He said, yeah. You want me to call him right now? And my boy called me and told me, and it's a lot of good cats as police officers. I got homeboys as real good police officers. They serious about what they do and care about their badge. But it's a contingency of officers, man, that make everybody look bad. And every police officer ain't bad. It's probably more good people in the force than deals bad people, but them few ones that's in there, they such fuck ups and such bad people, they're a reflection on everybody.
The only thing about that the statement that you made presents a conundrum, because we want to be safe just like everybody else. Like, black people want to be safe in their neighborhoods. We don't want to not like the police. We don't want to not like the police. But how can you like a motherfucker that don't like you? You know what I'm saying? So that's what we find ourselves at. So these cops who are the a-holes, they got to be exposed by the ones who are not. In order to really shift the pendulum, you have to have more cops who are really good cops speaking out. And until we get them to speak out, we we're really going to struggle with really saying that we got more good cops than bad cops until we get the ones that really speak out. Because once you make it cool to actually be a solid cop, once you make it cool to be an honorable police officer, then honorable becomes the norm. It becomes the standard. Right now, being an honorable police officer is not the standard. Being a corrupt peace officer or police officer is the standard. Being a clown, being an asshole, being arrogant, being a drunk, being a druggie, that is the standard right now, because that is what we see mostly. And we could talk about good cops all we want, but we don't have the luxury to downplay how serious that is, because lives are on the line.
Right.
Human beings are being slaughtered in the streets every day. And if they're not being slaughtered, they're being raped. They're being robbed. They're having their homes invaded. Like, this is my home. I pay the rent here. I pay the light bill here. I pay the mortgage. You know, I pay to get the lawn mowed. I pay for this dwelling. I pay for this. And just because you got a gun and a badge, you can just kick the door in when you feel like it and start shooting? No, fam. No. So until there's some real repercussions, it ain't gonna be a change. It's almost like somebody going to school. Man, imagine if your kid went to school. Let's say, Eiht, you sent your kid to school, and every day your kid went to school, he getting into a fight. He fighting the teacher. He ain't making no good grades. He telling the teacher, kiss my ass. My daddy, MC Eiht, he'll kick your ass. Fuck you. Mm-hmm. Then come home and then tell you what he ain't gonna do and all this. What? And then on top of that, he got a big old birthday bash coming up, and you throw him the birthday bash. If your child can still get what they want at the end of the day, if you're gonna reward bad behavior, there is no incentive to change such bad behavior.
Real talk.
And that's where we find ourselves at with these cops. If these cops were being held accountable, there's a good chance that Sonya Massey would still be alive, because that cop, Sean Grayson, would have known that he was going to be investigated, and there was a great probability that he would be prosecuted and convicted. See, when they know, that's why you don't see a lot of black cops killing people for nothing. You don't see black cops illegally gunning people down. It ain't because black cops are so wholesome. It ain't that. It is because they know that there's a line that they can't cross.
For real.
They know that if they do this gonna happen. They're gonna be held accountable. That's why they don't do it. The black cops are held accountable. Even the Hispanic cops are held accountable to a great extent. But these white
what's funny?
Are being held accountable by far and large.
What's funny about that, Will, is some of the, in my experience, now I don't have some white boys show out, but the Mexican and black cops out here go the hardest on you. It seems like they're trying to make a point. You ever notice that, Eiht?
Yeah, because they, like I said, it's the profiling of the area. You get me? And, you know, that attitude is more or less of you know, niggas being still bred in the neighborhoods that they probably, you know, despise. They despise, especially when they try to impress. You get me? They despise when you're not following the code that they follow to get to where they're at. So we get harassed a little bit more by our own kind in our sections. You get me? That's just the norm for us here. You get me?
You get harassed, but do you get killed more?
No, you might not get killed. You might get a little, your pride hurt and a little embarrassment, talk shit to or called names or whatever. But it ain't never been a situation where I don't think niggas was worried about the black cop pulling a gun on them, gunning them down, you more or less talk shit to them niggas. You sell out type of motherfucker or fuck you, I don't think we ever feared that. But getting pulled over by a white cop, you damn right. You get me? You had that fear like, oh, this motherfucker might shoot me. You feel me? So let me try to comply a little bit more differently.
And I've seen both instances. I've seen where you have a cop that got a real, he got a real reason to pull somebody over. They may be speeding or something. He's just trying to give them their ticket and get on. We don't have the luxury that the white boys got. I've seen white boys go in on police officers.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. You see them get pulled over by their own kind. They'll cuss a motherfucker out. They'll do shit that you wouldn't even fathom of doing. You get me?
Why do they do that, though? They do it because there's no incentive for them to change behavior. If the police started busting them across their motherfucking heads and shooting them, they'll stop doing that. It ain't that they braver. It ain't that. It's the only thing that's keeping them from behaving a different way. It's the only thing stopping the police from doing them the same way. It ain't because they have some type of infinite love for them. It is because of the law. It is the law. When the law, they know that they're protected by the law. That is the only reason why they behave like that, because there are police officers who do kill their own kind and who do rob their own kind, who do weaponize law enforcement, to get back at their enemies in their family and in their neighborhood, and on jobs where their spouses work at. They weaponize the police departments all the time. They weaponize law enforcement all the time. But the only reason why they don't cross those lines is because of the law. The only reason why white folks talk to the police the way they do is because they already know that the police ain't gonna do nothing. But what happens the first time the police disregard the code? The police crack a white person across the head, like, you fucking hit me. Okay. That's what they do. Okay. They ain't still Billy Badass. They not no Billy Badass. They start.
I don't see white folks talk some cash shit to police and get away with it.
Yeah, but
I don't get smart with the police. I have my hands on the 10 and 2. If they ask me for something, okay, I'm going to reach in my glove compartment and I'm going to grab my insurance. Here you go.
Well, I got one better for you. Don't keep your insurance in your glove compartment. Keep it above in your visor. Don't even keep it in your console. Don't keep it nowhere where they could they could possibly say that a gun. I thought he was reaching for a gun. You're reaching, there ain't nothing up there but the visor. Keep that insurance card right up there, on your visor. Some people got a little patch on their got a little pouch that they keep on their windows, that they or they'll have it handy, and when the police pull them over, they just put it right down there on the window. It's a little clip. Put it on the window. Boom. There it is right there. But yeah,
that's good. Do you think a lot of these guys are really scared, Will?
A lot of police?
Yeah.
No, they're not scared, bro. And we need to stop saying that. We need to stop entertaining that shit. They're not scared. These same cops who claim that they're scared are signing up to come and work in Fifth Ward and Compton and South Central. They sign up. Look, when they're in the academy, they're hoping they get assigned to the hood because they know they can run rampant in the hood. They know they can be disrespectful. They're looking for the action. They want to use that gun. They want to kill something. They looking to come into the hood. They're not afraid of us. Why? Look, man, would you be afraid if you had, look, for anybody that's ever been in a gang, some of you have been involved in gangs, right? And I'm talking about the audience. Some of you have been involved in gangs, right? When you're in a gang, you feel a little, you feel fortified, you feel confident, you got your homies, they got my back, man. And you walk to a spot, you ain't worried about nothing, because man, somebody get out of line, y'all gonna serve them up. Well, that's how the police act. They know that they're the biggest gang in the entire country. So that gang is so big that if they don't have enough on the ground right then and there, they'll come in from out of state. They'll ship them in from out of state, fly them in. They be driving all in from all over the place, different counties and everything. They just come from everywhere and converge on the action, come to get you. So that's why you can have the biggest and the baddest, most dangerous dude in the hood who got everybody shook. But when the police come and say, yo, we got a warrant for your arrest for traffic ticket, his ass gonna comply because he know their gang is much larger than his gang, and their gang is a legalized gang. Their gang gets their checks from the government. Their gang is actually more funded than any gang that they could ever even imagine started.
Yeah, but just imagine this. At one time, you was a little kid when the Compton Sheriff's Department was cracking, right? Wasn't you?
Compton Police Department, yeah.
Compton Police Department.
Yeah, we had the PD before the sheriffs.
Yeah, Compton PD, I heard, was the worst stuff in the world.
Yeah, it was kind of a rough time for us growing up in Compton. If you was affiliated with gangs, they would patrol, hit your block. You probably go to jail every night just for what they would try to call loitering, but we was just hanging out in the hood, so you go to jail. Beat up, taking the enemy hoods and dropped off. Shit, they were cooking themselves. A couple of Compton PD got killed by somebody back in the days because they were so fucked up. And then the situation with the police chief. Back then, and their affiliations with Death Row Records and all that. So Compton PD was vicious, and that's why they got canceled out, and the sheriffs moved in and had to take over because the police department was just too vicious, man. It was too corrupt and vicious.
Yeah, Will, they had dope come up missing out the evidence room and everything.
They got dope coming up missing out the evidence room in every police department. Hey, all of them, fam, it's a culture. All of them operate the same way. They just take turns getting caught. They all operate the same way, man. It's a culture. They're like, the sad part is that once somebody do become a police officer and they do try to go in and try to do the right thing, it's almost like how teachers operate. The teacher try to go in and do the right thing, go in for the students. The cop try to do the right thing, go in for the citizens. But then he realized that his biggest fight is not the citizens. The biggest fight is not the biggest fight is the administration. It's the people that run it. The biggest fight is the management. In every industry in the United States of America, the worst of the worst people are at the very top. And that is why nothing changes, from the CDC to the healthcare industry, to the transportation industry, to the clergy, to the finance industry, to education, every single industry, bro. The worst of the worst people are at the very top, and that's why nothing ever really changes. And also because good people are not willing to take the risk that the bad and the worst of the worst, those uncivilized mutts are. Good people have a limit. Bad people don't. A An uncivilized mutt would do anything. They'll kill anybody, including their mama. They'll kill their children to stay in power, to stay on top. They don't mind dropping a bomb on a defenseless country. They'll drop a bomb on their own on a community that they serve. They don't care. Whatever it takes to stay in control and maintain power, they'll do it. They'll sell out their citizens to allow companies to come in and put chemicals in our food and water supply. They'll strike a deal with a company to sell us manufactured meat, like meat they actually make made up meat. They'll do that for $1. They'll sell us out. Then we've been sold out.
Oh, it's a whole lot of that. If you ever notice,
bro.
If you ever notice, Will, if you go to a suburban community, if you go to a suburban community, right? Hey, mute yourself out.
What you say?
I said, hold on, you talking?
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, if you are in a suburban community, you will notice they don't sell that they don't sell the old English 800. They don't sell the old English 800. They don't sell the MD 2020 and all that. You go in there, you won't find all that. But if you Compton, Watts, parts of Long Beach, you go see all that shit there. The white community don't allow that. The white community don't allow that. If you notice in the black community, it's a McDonald's on every corner.
Yeah, it's a McDonald's. It may not be a McDonald's on every corner in the white communities, but or let's just say the suburban communities, but in every other corner, McDonald's got everybody. So everybody getting McDonald's is an equal opportunity killer. They killing everybody. They make McDonald's don't give a damn. They killing everybody. And those same burgers, they sell that same meat. They cook with that same grease at McDonald's all over the country. So yeah, those fast foods, McDonald's, churches, Popeyes, Burger King, all that stuff. Yeah, we all, in that regard, if you eating fast food, you're gonna get the same thing. Same thing at Taco Bell.
Sure.
Same thing that they sell at Taco Bell in Compton. They sell at Taco Bell in Fifth Ward.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy, man. Well, man, you know what? The one thing that I really wish we would start doing, man, and my big thing is we can sit up here and talk about this shit till we blue in the face, man. We need to start doing something about it. We need to start holding people accountable. And I know a lot of the homies are not in the politics or whatever, and I don't even know if politics is the answer, but we need to stop supporting the bullshit.
Yeah, I've already started myself personally. You know, like I think each one, reach one, teach one, start with yourself. And then any kids that you produce, you know, it's incumbent upon you to do that. Make sure that that you break the cycle, you know, make, you know, you, even with my kids, man, early on, man, I made my kids when they were when they were in school, I made them do community service every year. Like, like they had to do community service in the summer. They did community service. That was part of their, that was part of them paying their dues to society for living the life that they had. You know, you gotta do community service. You gotta give back. So
yeah, you do. You know what? I think that's important, man. And I think I wish more parents had that mentality that you had of making their kids, you know what I'm saying, go do stuff for the community. I think right now, man, we just stuck in such a fucked up place in America right now, man, where stuff is real crazy right now, man.
America ain't gonna survive at the rate we're going. This trajectory that we're on right now, this trajectory that we can't survive. Like it's too divided. It's too divided, not just along racial lines, but along it's divided along age lines. It's divided along economic lines, religious lines. Every line that you can think of, we done figured out a way to divide ourselves. And that is why if it ever really went down, if we ever had a foreign enemy, had to deal with a foreign enemy, America would lose. America would be destroyed. I'm talking about a foreign, formidable enemy. America would not make it. There'll be too many people saying, you know what? Shit, I'm tired of this anyway. Let's see what the other side look like.
Oh, it's for sure right now, man. And looking at this, I know we about to get up out of here in a minute, Will, but looking at the run for the president of the United States, you got Kamala Harris and you have Donald Trump, right? Do you think Kamala stands a chance?
Yeah, she got that fool shaking in his boots. Yeah, she does stand a chance. I mean, she stands a chance. Yeah.
I think so. I've been really doing my research on her, and a lot of thoughts that I had about her initially, I've kind of changed my mind, because that's the thing that's real dangerous right now. You got a lot of people that put false information out there, or information that's not really true. And it sounds real convincing. And if you're not careful, that's what I tell everybody. I don't get into politics with people. I say, vote on who you want to vote for, but make sure you're going to go do the research on that. Don't just believe what Joe Blow is saying or this person is saying. Don't just tune in to Charlemagne and hear what he's talking about. You go see on your own.
I don't know if Kamala is the answer, but I know Donald Trump ain't. And
is anybody the answer, though? Is anybody the answer?
I subscribe to an anybody but Trump philosophy. And that's why I stand, and ain't none of y'all out there can tell me anything different. Anybody but Trump. Man, I'll vote for Donald.
Still, who you voting for?
You know what? For Mickey Mouse before I vote for that sucker.
Right now, it's not going to be Donald Trump. Anytime, me as a black man now, anytime I hear a dude, his first thing is, I'm going to make it to where the police move with impunity. They can do what they want to. That's not good for me as a black man. That's not good for my sons. That's not good for my friends, my brothers, my cousins, other relatives. The brothers that's doing this podcast with me right now, it's not no good for none of us, right? That means it's really going to be open season then, right? And just because, you got to look at it like this. Every last one of us that's on this podcast live in the suburbs now. We don't live in the hood, right? That don't mean we immune. That don't mean we escaping nothing. They can, if anything, we probably more at risk, because now I know in my neighborhood, it's majority all white police officers.
Oh yeah, so you definitely, and you already know where I stay at. You definitely got to be careful coming up here, because they will racial profile your ass in a minute.
That's what I'm saying. So we in even more danger than the dude that's in the hood. You feel what I'm saying? Because more than likely, I'm not going to run across no black police officers. Not very few of them, right? So if a guy's not taking that serious, and they asked Donald Trump about Sonya Macy, he act like he didn't know what they were talking about. How are you the president of the United States? If the dude running for the president don't know what's going on?
He said, you mean the one with the water, about the water? Like,
yeah.
Yeah, the moderator, that was today, right? Yeah. The moderator at the National Black, how do you say it? It's the National Association of Black Journalists. Yeah.
Journalists. So, yeah.
So the moderator asked him about whether or not this guy, Sean Grayson, would he be granted immunity under a Trump presidency? And he was like, you mean the one with the water, about the water? He like, yeah, he don't really know what's going on, or he's faking, he's pretending that he don't know what's going on. And
he had to say something about the water. He had to mention the water.
If he don't know what's going on, if he didn't know what was going on, then you gotta again take a look at him, but also take a look at his team. Like you going to ask to field some questions from a group of people, an organization who represents a group of people that you're trying to attract. You want them to vote for you, and you don't know what the burning topics are, for their for their interest. You don't know what the burning, the Sonya Macy shooting has to be one of the top 3 topics in the black society right now.
Exactly, and you don't know. He should have made that. His team should have made sure. Okay, you're going to go talk to the black base today. Make sure that you speak on this, and even if you go on that line, make sure that you make sure. Oh, this guy, he wouldn't be eligible for my program. You want to go in? This dude, the first thing he says, "Oh, the one with the water."
Then he said, you know, maybe he'll be prosecuted under my watch. Maybe he'll be prosecuted, maybe not. See what they use when he says stuff like that. What he's really saying is that we're going to make it a law that police officers will have complete immunity. So so what that does is that wipes out all of the hope that families will be given any type of justice when they do illegally kill black folks.
Mm-hmm.
But it also gives him and whoever he decides is going to have that power, whatever judges or whatever, probably have some type of special committee or whatever, whoever decides, it'll give them the latitude to continue to have the power to decide when they want to make an exception to the rule. Mm-hmm. And that'll be totally on them to decide. Just like when you're dealing with judges, they have autonomy to decide when they're going to apply the law, when they're going to punish and when not, who they're going to be strict on, who they're going to be lenient on. They got too much power. That's way too much power, and that can't be allowed.
And you know what? And even if I'm not a target anymore, I got son is 20-something years old. Son is 30-something. I got young, you know, we all have young men.
Exactly.
Up under us, and they're in danger. I wouldn't want to, it would break my heart to hear the Quran riding down the street in the car and the police pull him over and they do something to him because they assume he a gangbanger.
Yeah, I tell my son that I try to tell him to comply if he ever went through that situation. Like you said, Willie, just comply. You hear me? Whatever they want to do, they want you to get out the car. You know, just comply with it. Give them no reason to, you know, fuck with our innocent young men who are trying to be, who are trying to make it and not go through that lifestyle. But unfortunately, there'll be innocent victims, just like, you know, a lot of us were, you know, to the police brutality and just the profiling and shit. You would hope that when you move to a different area, they would be considered regular citizens, but, you know, it's unfortunately the color of our skin doesn't allow us to get away with that. Even when we move out the hood and try to move to decent places, you're still a number one target because they want to know what the fuck you doing here. You get me? That's the first thing what they want to know is what you doing in this part of town and this neighborhood. So I try to tell my son to, you know, if anything happens, you know, he hasn't been pulled over, just obey the shit and don't try to put yourself in any predicaments to where they would want to get feisty with a motherfucker. You get me? Because they could be having a bad day like homeboy, and whatever happens today, it's gonna come out and I'm gonna show it. And like you said, a lot of them motherfuckers get immunity with shit and get away with the shit. So you definitely got to be careful if you're growing up in these times and a young man. You know, they racial profile a lot of us in situations and shit, just because shit. You black. I mean, shit. What else do we supposed to do? You're black.
And they don't think them police officers didn't know that you was MC Eiht, the gangster rapper. That just makes they there. You Willie D, the gangster rap from the Ghetto Boys. I'm gonna make an example of him. He talking tough on them records. Oh man, I'm about to get with him.
I got a little bit of that, but I tried to avoid hanging out.
I hear them.
Yeah, but I definitely got a little bit of that, you know, still being in the neighborhood and still, you know, living in Compton when the rap career first jumped off. You get a little bit of that, but then as it tends to go along, you try to garner a little respect from them, even though you in that situation. Yeah, nigga, I'm talking about the brutality and the situations we go through living here, but still, you know, You know a nigga ain't out here trying to pop niggas and sell drugs, so give me some respect also. They want to be respected, but Shay, you got to give respect too.
Yeah, for sure. So Will,
and
go ahead. You got it.
No, that's normally reciprocated, man. You know, they know who they know who it is and who it ain't. They know what it is and they know what it ain't. You know, so you ain't got to go around trying to prove nothing, whatever. It's by you carry yourself. It's how you carry yourself. So just like you can tell when a police carry himself in a respectful manner and the right way, then they can tell when you carry yourself in a certain way. And it's more like that. It's more like that. You know, it ain't got to necessarily be said all the time. But I wanted to clarify something you said about the police, you know, killing. You know, the police don't kill gangbangers. They kill regular. They kill our best.
Mm.
They don't kill. They don't kill gangbangers. They don't kill robbers. You know, they don't kill murderers. They kill our best. They kill the kid who got a career. They kill the kid who got a future, who going to school, who just graduated college, who just graduated high school, who everybody in the neighborhood loved. They kill that guy that's the hard worker, that lived in the house with his children and his woman. They kill the best that we have. That's who they killing. They're not killing the gangbangers because they've resolved to the fact that gangbangers will probably take out themselves. They're not concerned about gangbangers. They're not concerned about gangbangers. They're concerned about those of us who represent the future. That's what they do. That's who they kill.
That's deep. Hey, Will, what days is your podcast drop?
Huh?
What days you drop your podcast, your audio?
On Mondays, sometimes Wednesdays, but Mondays every Monday.
I'm gonna leave a link. I'm gonna leave a link in our description of this episode, man. Y'all make sure, man, y'all go subscribe, man, to Willie D's podcast. You got one of the best podcasts out there. Will, you've been having some. I've messed with your podcast, man. You've been having some good ass guests on there. I love the one about my man that ran the record stores in Chicago. What was my man's name?
George Daniels.
George Daniels.
George, yeah. George.
Yeah, I know George. Yes, indeed. Yeah. I've been to George as a gang of times, man. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, that was a must stop if you went to Chicago. George's.
Oh yeah, there, definitely.
Music room.
George's music room was definitely a must stop. If you was pushing a record and promoing and you was on tour, that was one of your main stops. Record labels made sure you went to George's music room.
That's right.
Yeah, he definitely from that era of black retailers, man. Y'all make sure, man, y'all go do that. Will, we got a few people to listen to the audio of this podcast, man. Make sure y'all go subscribe to Willie D's show, man. I'm gonna leave a link in the description of this episode. And y'all make sure y'all check in. All right. Will, we appreciate you coming on, brother.
Absolutely. Appreciate y'all.
Good luck, Will. For sure, people.
That's what I'm saying, to keep up the good work.